Hey, we welcome you to another edition of Birds Weekly presented by the Inside the Birds Network. For Ray Didinger, I'm Derrick Gunn. It is Cowboys week, and we know how much in this region we hate those Dallas Cowboys, and we beat them in the season opener and can't wait to pound them on their own turf come Sunday at 4:25, I believe it is, Eastern Standard Time. And Raymond, I can't figure this Cowboys team out. They're the haves and the have-nots. They have an offense that's ranked third in the league, and they can light it up with anybody when that offense is clicking. But they have not done much of anything on defense. They're 30th in the league on defense. They're very generous against the run, very generous in points, very generous in yards. I don't understand how a team can be so good on one side of the ball, yet so inept on another side of the ball. But thank you, Jerry Jones, for putting together another mediocre team.
Sure did. I mean, and it really is a team of two faces. It's like the masks of theater, the smiling mask and the frowning mask.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of what their football team looks like. I mean, you're right. I mean, when they're on offense, they can move the ball and score on anybody, especially at home. I mean, they have been lethal at home. And Dak Prescott is having a terrific year. People saw him probably on Monday night lighting up the Raiders. 138.6 quarterback rating in that game, 4 touchdowns. I mean, the team, he's really having one of his best years, but you wouldn't know it because of the fact that they're not winning a whole lot of games. It's not his fault. It's a defense. And it would be too simple to just say, well, it's all about trading Micah Parsons. They traded Micah Parsons, and no, the problems go way beyond that. Now, if they had him, they'd probably be better. But, Derrick, when you watch the film, man, they are bad on every level. They really are. So, we've talked so much about the Eagles' offense this year and how they sputter and they're 3 and out and they can't sustain drives and they can't make big plays and blah, blah, blah. Well, if they can't move the ball and score against this team, I think we really need to start worrying.
And Ray, I look at their defensive personnel. They've got players: Kenneth Murray, Deron Bland, Donovan Wilson, Malik Hooker, Jadeveon Clowney, Trayvon Diggs. Now he was hurt. Kenny Clark, they got in a trade with Green Bay. Before the trade deadline, they added Quinyon Williams, Dante Fowler. So they have the personnel, and for the life of me, I can't understand why it has not clicked. You would think at some point it would click in the season, but it has. Now, they beat up on teams like they beat the Giants, they beat the Jets, they beat Washington, and then on Monday night they beat the Raiders, and, of course, they tied the Packers. But they can't seem to beat any quality football teams. And for the life of me, with a bunch of names that I just mentioned, that, oh, by the way, they're healthy for this game, that they can't put it all together and become more of a defensive cornerstone than they have been.
Hey, it's Jeff Mosher, and if you have a family and kids at home like me, you always want them to be fully protected. That's why I'm thrilled to be a Simply Safe customer, and our house is equipped with the most technologically advanced alarm system you can get. If you could actually stop someone from breaking into your home before they got inside, why wouldn't you? Traditional security systems only react after a break-in, but Simply Safe is different because it stops crimes before they happen with Active Guard outdoor protection. Their AI-powered cameras detect threats while they're still outside your home, and they alert real security agents. These agents take action while the intruder is still outside and confront the intruder to let them know they're being watched on camera and police is on the way. And that's how you stop a crime before it's committed. There's no long-term contracts or hidden fees. You can cancel anytime, and it comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee. Try it and see the difference for yourself. Do not miss out on Simply Safe's biggest sale of the year, 60% off. Our listeners get 60% off a Simply Safe home security system at simplysafe.com/bird. That's simplysafe.com/bird.
Yeah, I mean, even if they were just decent, well, even if they were just decent on that side of the ball, they'd be winning some games because their offense is really dangerous. I mean, CeeDee Lamb has had his injury issues, so he has not put up the kinds of numbers this year we've seen him put up in the past. But Pickens has come over and he has been really good. I mean, he had a real big game against the Raiders. He had 9 catches, 140 yards, and a touchdown. But he's been playing like that really all year. And, there's never been any question about his ability. I mean, even in Pittsburgh, everybody knew he was a guy that was talent-wise an elite receiver in this league, but had issues with management, had issues with the coaches. Effort wasn't always consistent. And so he leaves Pittsburgh and comes to Dallas, changes scenery, and he's been very good this year. And their offense, and Javon Williams is averaging over 5 yards a carry. So offensively, they're getting it done, but the defense just can't stop anybody. I was looking at the league's defensive breakdown, statistical rankings. If you go through the 11 what I would consider the most relevant stats. I mean, there's a million stats, but the 11 top ones that really tell you whether a defense is any good or not. Derek, they rank 21st or lower in every one of them. So there's really no aspect of their defense that's functioning well. I mean, they are just a hot mess over there. And, for an Eagles team that's been having trouble generating much offense, well, this might be get well week.
We've said that before.
Yeah, I know.
It doesn't pan out, except maybe against the Giants. But it hasn't panned out for the most part. But you're right, Ray. Even though it is down in Dallas, this is a game where the passing game should be fluid. The running game should surpass 200 yards easily. But this is the Eagles and Cowboys. And, funny things happen when these two teams seem to get together. Now, you've covered this particular rivalry for a long time, and in the time that I've covered it since 1997, the one thing that has always fascinated me about this rivalry is that Eagles fans take this rivalry more seriously than the Dallas Cowboys do.
Right.
I've read stories, and I've actually interviewed people when I covered the team and traveled with the Eagles in Dallas, and the majority would say their biggest rivals are either the Giants or the Commanders. And it just blows me away that the Cowboy fans don't perceive this as big of a rivalry as the Eagles do, other than the fact that the Eagles right now control the division and the fact that they are the defending Super Bowl champs.
Right. I think that's very accurate. That was particularly noticeable in the 80s, into the 90s.
Yeah.
When it really started to heat up with the Buddy Ryan, the Buddy Ryan versus Jimmy Johnson phase of things. But I think it was pretty easy to understand why back then, because the people in Philadelphia, they looked at the Cowboys as the Darth Vader team. You can look at that from when the series starting in the 70s, starting actually in the middle 60s and running through most of the 70s. If you went back over that, I'm pretty sure about these numbers. 23 times those teams played in those years. 23 times.
Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting, and they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up.
The Cowboys won 21 of the 23 times. So, this was during a time when the Cowboys had a really hot rivalry going with Washington, So the Dallas fans looked at the then Redskins as that's our team. That's our rival. Those are the guys we have to beat. That's where the real animosity was. That's where the real blood boiling kind of thing was there. Dallas, Washington in those years. Landry versus George Allen, that whole thing. The Dallas fans couldn't get excited about an Eagles team that they were just slapping around twice a year for a decade. So that you didn't have much history, you didn't have much juice in it then. I think you're kind of getting it now because the Eagles have now become the team in this division, and they have been for a while. So now you're starting to get a little bit of edge built up in Dallas towards the Eagles. But for the Eagles fans here of a certain generation that grew up during that 2-21 stretch, and the bad guys, the black hat guys, will always be the Cowboys. Whether the Cowboys are good or bad any given year, they're still the Cowboys. And I think that feeling still exists. And nothing makes an Eagle fan happier than a win over the Cowboys, and nothing makes them happier than a decisive, one-sided win over the Cowboys. And I think that's what everybody's hoping to see on Sunday.
You have had a long, illustrious career, my friend, covering not just the NFL, but this particular rivalry. Is there one game in this rivalry more than others that stands out to you and will always stand out to you?
Hey, I still like a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink, and that's why I looked for a great alternative, and I found one. It's called Sol's Out of Office Gummies. You get the same light, happy buzz, but you don't have the hangover, there's no sugar, and you don't get that awkward feeling the next morning. They help me unwind and ease into my evening without the alcohol or the next day fog. Sol is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Sol specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and help you unwind. Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance your creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strengths, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe, from a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience. They've also got a variety of products specifically designed to help you get a better night's rest, including Sol's top selling sleep gummy, a fan favorite for deep restorative sleep. So bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Sol today. Right now, Sol is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. So go to getsol.com and use the code BIRDS, BIRDS. That's getsol.com, promo code BIRDS for 30% off.
Yeah, that's easy. The 1980-81, the 1980-81 championship game.
Okay.
When it all came, the NFC championship game, the game to go to the Super Bowl. Cowboys come into the vet, play the Eagles on a day when it's below zero. The Eagles do the jersey switcheroo where the Eagles wear white and they force the Cowboys to wear their blue, which back then, not so much now, but back then the Cowboy people viewed the blue jerseys as bad luck. The Eagles, because they were the home team, they said, we're going to take white, made the Cowboys wear the blue. And that was the game the Eagles went out and beat them 20-7. And it was the score was not indicative of how one-sided it was. I mean, the Eagles, that was the game. Wilbert Montgomery, second play from scrimmage, boom, takes it to the house, and it was the Eagles' day. And the party just went on in Philadelphia all that week and sent the Eagles to the Super Bowl, and for the first time, and they lost the Super Bowl. And I really think, looking back on it, and some of the players now, with the benefit of time and hindsight, look back and say, I really think we played our Super Bowl against the Cowboys. We had built everything up, this whole rivalry thing, the Cowboys. They're coming into our stadium. The fans were fired up. That was our Super Bowl. I think they played their Super Bowl that day against the Cowboys. And when they went down to New Orleans to play the Raiders, they just couldn't summon up the same kind of emotion. And, they went down there and they played probably their poorest game of the season. But I think they played their Super Bowl here against the Cowboys. That's the one I remember.
When you look at Dak Prescott, is having an outstanding year this year. He's completing 70% of his passes, over 2,500 yards and 21 touchdowns. And for whatever reason, as we've watched his career evolve, there's something about Dak when he plays the Eagles. I don't care if it's here or there. He's always been a thorn in the Eagles' side. He seems to be crisper in the passing department, more accurate in terms of sidestepping pressure, things of this nature. I think it's one of the more uncanny scenarios when you watch a matchup in pro football is that this guy plays like a Hall of Famer every time he comes up against the Philadelphia Eagles.
He plays well against them. You're right. He really does. And that's been true throughout most of his career. The success, when the Eagles have had success against the Cowboys, and have had some, a lot of times it's been against the backups. When Dak couldn't play, the Cooper Rushes, the Ben DiNucci, remember him?
Oh, yes.
I mean, some of these backup quarterbacks that the Cowboys have played, the Eagles have had really good success against them. Prescott has beaten them more than his share and has played well against them. But, this Eagles defense right now, Derek, I mean, they're playing at a super high level. And you look at I think when Dak is looking at the film this week, getting ready for this game, and he's going to be looking at the film of the Eagles-Lions game, and he's going to see all those bodies buzzing around Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I think Dak has been spending this week thinking, wait a minute, this is a whole different Eagles team than I remember. Because some of these guys, especially Phillips, has really changed things. But you got, Jahad Campbell's in there. N'Kobe Dean's playing at a super high level. The Eagles defense right now is playing probably better than any Eagles defense Dak Prescott has seen to this point. So that's going to be the challenge. I guess I was wrong this week. I mean, I said that the Eagles, if they were going to have to score points to beat the Lions, because I thought the Lions were going to score some too, and they didn't. So I'm feeling kind of the same way this week. The Eagles are going to have to score some to beat the Cowboys the way they're moving the ball. But who knows? Maybe the Eagles defense really is that good. But if it'll be a good test, because from what I've seen of the Cowboys this year, especially playing at home, and you saw it again Monday night, are they a great team overall? No. But offensively, they're still dangerous.
I can see Dak shortening up his passing game against the Eagles on Sunday. He likes to take those deep shots to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, but, you're right. If he's watching the film and he's watching all the different angles this pressure is coming from, I can see him shorten up his pass game, and I can see Jake Ferguson being more involved in the passing game, which would play into the Eagles' hands if they could keep everything in front of them and make the Cowboys dink and dunk, and then, like they do, come up with that one big opportunistic play on defense to turn the momentum of this game.
Yeah, that's fairly typical of Brian Schottenheimer's offensive philosophy. If he's got big play receivers, and he does, they'll take their shots down the field. But if Dak doesn't like what he sees down there, he'll be real quick to lay it off to Ferguson. I mean, we've talked about Lamb and Pickens being their chief receivers, but Ferguson actually leads the team in receptions.
Yeah.
He's caught more balls than anybody, because if Dak doesn't feel like he can get it to the other guys, he's going to take it to Ferguson. And Ferguson, he moves the chains a lot. Offensively, they're pretty good. They really are. And Prescott is playing extremely well. So this will be as good as the Eagles defense is playing right now, and they are playing at a real high level. No, people around the league are talking about it too. I mean, I've had a couple emails and a couple conversations with some people in the last 2 weeks about asking me, do you think this Eagles defense is for real? I mean, from what we're seeing now, and I mean, people around the league are starting to buzz about this now, is how good this Eagles defense is right now. They noticed, okay? So this will be a good test here. Because, they certainly shut down the Packers. They absolutely shut down the Lions, who were scoring on everybody. This will be another good test. Taking on this Cowboys offense in Dallas, this will be another good test for this Eagles defense to see just how good they are right now.
There are those out there, not many, but those, and I'm assuming there could be Dallas backers that will argue that CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are the best 1-2 receiver combo in the NFL. And I'll pump the brakes for a minute here. You have a couple of good wide receivers out there with the Rams. Cincinnati has a couple of good receivers. And, of course, the Eagles have a couple of good ones as well. Where would you rank that combination, Lamb and Pickens?
You mentioned the top ones.
Yeah.
You mentioned that those are probably the four best. Boy, Higgins and Chase are good.
Yeah,
they're really good, and they've been playing this whole year without Joe Burrow. If you put them with Burrow, they might be the best right now. It's hard to evaluate them with the quarterback position being what it is there. When they're healthy, it might be Lamb and Pickens. Really might be. I mean, they're very good, and they complement each other very well. And Pickens has been, for a guy that throughout his career has been sort of an in and outer. Some weeks he looks great, other weeks you barely see him in the score sheet. He's been very consistent this year. And the Eagles, probably are feeling pretty good about themselves right now, coming off the bye with 2 big wins, defense playing great. They can't sleep on this game. They really can't. I mean, they can't just decide, the Cowboys aren't any good, and just take them for granted, because this team can move the ball and they can score, and they can make big plays. So they're going to be a test. I think the Eagles defense is more than capable of dealing with it. I'm more interested in the other side of the ball and seeing what the Eagles offense can do against a defense that has so many holes in it right now and is playing so poorly. This to me could be a game where the Eagles offense really starts to crank it up. And I think, if they don't go down there and move the ball and score a lot of points, I'm going to be surprised and frankly, a little worried, because this is a team that they should handle. Offensively, this is a team that they should be able to handle.
You just jinxed them, Ray. You just jinxed them.
I probably did.
This Eagles
and you will remind me of that.
Absolutely.
You will remind me of that Monday if that's how it turns out.
If they lose, that's the first thing I'm bringing up. Hey, the Eagles defense did just an incredible job of stonewalling Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, because they like to run those inside zone runs. And here's another team, Javonte Williams for the Cowboys. This guy's got 161 carries. He's closing in on his first 1,000-yard season. He's got 809 yards. He's a power back, excuse me, and he loves to get those inside zone reads. If the Eagles can take away their run game as well, make them one-dimensional, you have them right where you want them.
Yeah, and he's been a very good addition to them. He really has. He's the best runner they've had for a while, and you're right. He runs with a lot of power. I like the way he runs, because he always gets you that extra yard and a half. Yep. He's always going forward. He doesn't you don't get him for negative yardage. He is a straight north-south guy who takes people on and gets everything there is to get on each carry. And he's been very good. And if you look at that offense, it's really complete. 2 really good wide receivers, a really sure-handed, reliable sort of tight end. And Williams has given them a real solid running component, and Dak is playing great. So offensively, they're really good. They really are. And Vic Fangio, when he met the press this week, Vic was typically direct in his answers. When people were asking about the Dallas offense, he said they're good. They're really good, and we're going to have to be on our game to shut them down. Because if you make one mistake, if you blow one coverage, if you miss one tackle, they've got guys who can take it to the house. And that's one of the things that, and this, again, is a reflection on Fangio, what a good teacher he is and what a stickler he is on detailing. They do not blow coverages, the Eagles. You just don't see one of those situations where a receiver is wide open catching a pass, and you got 2 defenders looking at each other saying, I thought you had him. No, you had him. They don't do that. These guys, in addition to being really talented and with a lot of speed, they are well schooled, and that's one of the reasons why they're so consistent right now. But they're going to have to be that this week in Dallas, because that's a team. If you make a mistake, if you blow a coverage, if you miss a tackle, they have enough athletes on that side of the ball that they'll make you pay for it.
All right, Ray, who do you like in this game? Prediction time.
Oh, I like the Eagles. In all honesty, the Eagles should win this one handily. Yeah. But their offense, I don't know how much I can count on their offense. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay. I'm going to say this is the weekend that they break out. I'm going to say this is the weekend that they should. I mean, they should roll this team. So, okay, I'm going to make myself look foolish. I'm going to say it, and I'm going to say the Eagles win this one 30-16.
Ooh, I like that. I'm also putting my faith in the Eagles. I know the Cowboys, want to get back at them for losing the season opener, 24-20, I believe it was. Dallas is a much different team at home than they are on the road. They're 2-1-1 at home. The one thing that stuck out in my mind is that 2 weeks ago, Arizona went into Dallas and held Dallas to 17 points in their own backyard. Before that, they were averaging 41 points a game at home. And somehow, some way of all teams, Arizona went in there and took it to the Dallas Cowboys. Well, if Arizona can hold, Dallas to 17 at home, surely arguably the best defense in the NFL right now, the Eagles, can hold them to that. So I'm going to say the Eagles get their offense right. The Dallas Cowboys will put up a gallant fight because it's a divisional game. But when the dust settles, the Eagles win this game 31-21. And I think Dallas gets a meaningless touchdown at the end of the game somewhere just to make it look respectable. Hey, before I let you go, I understand once again we want to promote something you have coming up, a great event coming up. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, I want to let people know that Glenn Macnell, my old radio partner, the great Joe Conklin, and I have put together a really fun show, and it's called The Greatest Moments in Philadelphia Sports History. We've done it at a couple of different theaters, and people have loved it. And so we're doing it again, and we're bringing it to a place called the Scottish Rite Theater in Collingswood, New Jersey. Beautiful theater, 1,000 seats. I've seen a couple concerts there. Terrific venue. And so we're going to be there doing the greatest moments in Philadelphia sports history on Wednesday, December the 3rd. So if you want to relive Schmitty and Rose and Bernie and Clarkey and Dr. J and Nick Foles and Wilbert Montgomery, you want to relive all of that in one night, this is your night. So go to the Scottish Rite Auditorium website and order your tickets, and I'll see you on December the 3rd. I guarantee you it will be a great time.
That's unbelievable. 3 great Philadelphia historians under one roof. You couldn't ask for anything better.
Nope.
So for my colleague and friend, Ray Didinger, Cowboys, Eagles, coming up Sunday down in Big D. I'm Derrick Gunn. Of course, we'll be back here next week to recap how that game turns out. So until then, so long, everybody.